Douglas Murray, the author of The Madness of Crowds, Gender, Race, Identity. Douglas, welcome to the Candace Owens Show.
In the name of progress, the woke activists seem able to do nothing so much as to make everyone in our society regress.
What's happening right now in this climate of non-binary, I'm a man, but I want to wear women's underwear and be free. They're telling you that something is wrong.
At this moment, the woke culture is not new. As the country finds itself wrapped in this so-called woke agenda, two outspoken voices are standing their ground. British author and journalist Douglas Murray and American political commentator Candace Owens. Not only are they unafraid to challenge these ideologies, but they also see it as their mission to shed light on the dangers they believe are seeping into society.
All of it, by the way, is a vindication of something that Eric Hoffer famously said 70 years ago, which is that every good cause begins as a good cause, becomes a business, and degenerates into a racket. I think woke ideology is already at the racket stage of that. I think this whole thing, the use of identity, the weaponization of identity, intersectionality, all this stuff, I think we need to take this much more seriously than we've taken it. I think it's the most plausible, it's a hideous attempt, but it's the most plausible attempt since the Cold War to inject an entire new religion into our societies.
The woke movement may have started with noble intentions. Douglas Murray even referred to it in a praising light. But over time, it has taken a darker turn. What was once celebrated has now become criminalized and weaponized, with society feeling pressured to conform to these ideologies. Candace Owens straight up calls it lying and pretending.
Now, to survive in woke culture, you have to become a liar. You have to pretend that you think fat is beautiful. You have to pretend to be race obsessed. You have to pretend that you think Dylan Mulvaney is a woman and should be included in female spaces. We are being told that you have to lie repeatedly in order to survive in corporate culture.
If you're wondering who Dylan Mulvaney is, she's a transgender American social media personality, documenting her gender transition in daily TikTok videos since early 2022. With 9.5 million followers and counting, she's certainly made an impact. But Candace Owens, definitely not a fan.
We should have been the ones to put an end to Dylan Mulvaney, but we didn't because we feel bad. And shouldn't we just feel bad for men that want to be women and mock us and put on lipstick and pigtails and call themselves a girl? I think not, Tucker, but woke culture says yes.
Talking about the trans people community, one prominent figure instantly comes to mind. Yep, you guessed it, Caitlyn Jenner. Candace and Douglas recall how, at the time, anyone who didn't find her attractive was quickly labeled a bigot.
The year of trans, the Caitlyn Jenner year, when she did a clean sweep of the awards season across every awards show in America. And one of the things that fascinated me most about it was it had gone beyond tolerance. It had gone beyond, okay, look, if that's what you think you are, and like, you know, good luck. It had gone beyond that. It got to the stage of don't just admire her, find her attractive. You don't think she's attractive? Bigot.
Bigot.
Murray takes it a step further, arguing that these ideologies, promoted under the banner of tolerance and liberalism, come with serious consequences. He warns that trans women, who are biologically male, pose a real threat to women's safety.
The question that the left seems to be in trouble on here is the question of harm. They deeply fear, and understandably, harm against trans people, but they ignore then harm against women. They think that in their oppression hierarchy, trans people are more oppressed than women, therefore women should be they should just shut up.
Trans women are openly using women's bathrooms and changing rooms, leaving many women feeling uncomfortable in their own spaces. Take, for example, a video of Josh Sider. It's a clear sign that at this point, they're literally mocking women.
Okay, so I have to admit, the women's bathroom is so much nicer than the men's bathroom.
Can a two-time rapist who now identifies as a woman be placed in a women's prison? Is it fair for a mediocre male swimmer like Leah Thomas, who never won in men's competitions, to identify as a woman, compete on the women's team, and walk away with a national championship? Is it really progress when biological men are being nominated in women's award categories?
There is no doubt scientifically that if you were born and went through puberty as a male, and if you take estrogen later on, you still benefit from the years your body developed with testosterone and much more in it.
These incidents are fueling outrage, sparking heated debate, and, as Murray suggests, exposing the cracks in these so-called progressive ideologies.
The sort of new creed of trans women are women is falling apart, as it should, because it defies reality. What are we doing in the 2020s but being caught up by these people into reopening the most basic things we've known since the dawn of our species, that there are men and women?
Owens drives the point home, emphasizing how difficult it has become to stand up for basic truths about men and women without the looming threat of being canceled.
It does take bravery to stand up to the mob and to say something that should be so abundantly obvious. Women are women and men are men.
Now, when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, both Douglas and Candace have plenty to say. But before we go ahead, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content so far.
The growing alphabet mafia and how they are now adding letters that really just imply sexual deviancy.
LGBTQ plus, let's take a look at Murray's take on the grouping here.
The whole of what Dave Chappelle calls the alphabet people car has become a clown car because none of it fits together. The first two letters don't fit together very well. The lesbians and the gays don't have very much in common. Everyone's suspicious of bisexuals. A lot of people just don't believe they exist particularly, or at least think that it's, bi now, gay later, as they used to say. Then the trans people come along. They have nothing in common with any of the other people in the grouping.
Back in the 90s, coming out was seen as a moment of celebration in America. Take Ellen DeGeneres, for example. She graced the cover of Time magazine after announcing she was gay. Picture or Melissa Etheridge, who came out as a lesbian while performing at Bill Clinton's inauguration. But here's what's worth noting. Both women later revealed they had been sexually abused. Candace Owens even suggests that these experiences might be connected in some way.
It's understandable that if you had been harmed by an individual of a certain sex, that you would shy away from all healthy sexual relations with that particular sex. But is that the right thing?
Now, I'd be shocked if you told me you've never heard of Pride Month. Over the years, it's exploded into a massive celebration. From pride marches to rainbow-colored sails, it's all over social media. Candace Owens takes it further, pointing out that pride marches are pushing the boundaries with vulgarity and nudity, making it far from a family-friendly event.
When you say it's an LGBTQ pride parade, you know you're going to see nudity. What does that tell you? And people are fearful to talk about this. And it's crazy to me as a parent that we've allowed this to go so far, that we've allowed sexual deviancy to be perceived as an identity.
What's truly alarming is how the woke agenda is creeping into schools, targeting young children. In certain states, once kids turn 12, parents aren't even allowed to know what prescriptions their children are being given. That's right, 12-year-olds are being treated like adults. Under the guise of sex education, kids are being taught about sexual spectrums, with the message that transitioning your gender is perfectly fine.
What we have seen in America is what they're doing in the classroom is introducing, you called it sex education. I have to tell you, we cannot call it that because that is how they are trying to hide this. This is not about education. This is not about sex. This is something much more nefarious that is going on. It is a very dangerous ideology, and what it leads to is death and suicide, factually speaking.
Transition pills and drugs are now easily accessible to children, as Candace Owens explains.
But what this is being backed by is a big pharma push. They are selling so many new drugs to transition children, something that is an impossibility at the end of the line. Lupron is the name of the drug in the US that they are giving to these children. Lupron is also used to chemically castrate pedophiles in prison.